Loyal fan drove his drunk idol home after a party. What she said the next morning changed his life. The bass from inside the Malibu mansion rattled Theo's ribs as he adjusted his black catering vest for the 100th time that night. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, he could see her, Aurora Sky, laughing at something a record executive said, her silver dress catching the chandelier light like trapped starlight. 3 years. 3 years he'd been running Aurora's Echo, the biggest fan site dedicated to her music. 3 years of analyzing every lyric, every interview, every Instagram story. And now, thanks to his cousin's catering company, he was finally in the same room as her. Theo! Table 7 needs more champagne. His cousin Marcus called out, but Theo barely heard him. Aurora had just walked onto the terrace, and something was wrong. Her usual grace was gone, replaced by an unsteady wobble that had nothing to do with her heels. The party was getting weird anyway. Theo had noticed it an hour ago. People laughing too loud at nothing, eyes glazed and dilated, conversations that made no sense. Even the music seemed distorted, like someone had mixed something into the sound system. The whole place felt like a fever dream. Aurora's manager, Derek Vaughn, followed her outside. Even from 30 feet away, Theo could see the tension in their body language. Derek's hands moved in sharp, aggressive gestures while Aurora shook her head repeatedly. Her voice carried over the noise. I said no! I'm not signing anything tonight. You don't have a choice, Aurora. The label's patience is wearing thin. Then maybe it's time for a new label. Derek grabbed her arm. You're being stupid. This deal will make you a household name. Aurora yanked away, stumbling backward. Maybe I don't want to be a household name. That's when Theo saw Derek slip something back into his jacket pocket. Something small and clear. A vial. Derek stormed back inside, leaving Aurora alone on the terrace. She gripped the railing, swaying dangerously close to the edge. Theo didn't think, he just moved. Miss Sky? He approached slowly, hands visible. Are you okay? She turned, her pupils enormous and unfocused. Do I know you? I'm with the catering staff. You look like you need help. Aurora laughed, but it came out broken. Help? That's funny. Everyone here wants to help me right into a cage. She blinked hard, trying to focus. The stars look wrong tonight. Have you noticed? They're singing. Theo looked up. Clear sky, normal stars. Whatever was in her system was hitting hard. Let me drive you home, he said gently. This party's getting crazy anyway. She studied his face with startling intensity. You have kind eyes. That's rare. She nodded slowly. Okay, mystery catering boy. But I picked the music. The walk to his beat-up Honda was surreal. Aurora Sky, the girl whose voice had gotten him through his dad's death, whose lyrics he knew better than his own thoughts, was leaning on him for support, humming a melody he'd never heard before. She collapsed into the passenger seat and immediately curled up like a child. I wrote something new tonight, she mumbled as he started the engine. Before everything went sideways. Want to hear? Before he could answer, she began to sing, her voice raw and haunting. They put poison in the well of dreams. Nothing is the way it seems. When you wake up, will you remember me? Or will I just be the ghost of who I used to be? Theo's blood went cold. Those weren't Aurora's usual pop lyrics. These were darker, more prophetic. And something about the melody felt ancient, like she was channeling something beyond herself. By the time they reached her building, she was unconscious, still humming that strange, beautiful song. Section 2, The Morning After. Sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows pulled Aurora from a dreamless sleep. She was in her own bed, still wearing the silver dress from where? Her head felt like it was stuffed with cotton, and her mouth tasted like copper pennies. She stumbled to her feet, barefoot on cold marble floors, and froze. This apartment was massive, bigger than any place she remembered living. Platinum records lined the walls like expensive mirrors, and magazine covers featuring a girl who looked exactly like her stared back from every surface. Cosmopolitan. Aurora Sky's secret to superstardom. Rolling Stone. The voice that's redefining pop. Who was this girl? Why did she have Aurora's face? A soft snore from the living room made her heart jump. Someone was here. Someone had brought her to this strange, beautiful prison. She crept forward and found a young man with messy brown hair sleeping on her white leather couch, his catering vest draped over a chair. He looked peaceful, harmless even, but terror clawed at her throat. "Hey!" she shouted. "Hey!" Theo jerked awake, immediately raising his hands. "It's okay. I just wanted to make sure you got home safe. I was about to leave, I swear." "Home?" Aurora backed against the wall. "This isn't my home. I don't live in a place like this. I can't afford a place like this." Theo's face shifted from concern to confusion. "Aurora, this is your penthouse. You've lived here for 2 years. My name's not Aurora." But even as she said it, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. The screen lit up with notifications. "Derek Vaughn. Call me. We need to discuss last night. Universal Records. Studio time confirmed for Monday. Mom. Saw the photos from the party. Call me, baby." She stared at the phone like it might bite her. "I don't know these people." Theo stood slowly, moving like he was approaching a wounded animal. "Aurora, you were drugged last night. Maybe it's affecting your memory. Do you remember the party? The song you sang in my car?" "I don't sing." The words came out automatically, but they felt wrong in her mouth. She looked around again, at the Grammy nomination plaque, at the photo of herself on stage in front of thousands of people, at the expensive guitar mounted on the wall. "I don't understand any of this." Her voice broke. "These pictures, these awards, none of this is mine. None of this is real." "It's all real," Theo said softly. "You're Aurora Sky. You have 3 platinum albums. You've sold out Madison Square Garden twice. Your last single hit #1 in 14 countries." She slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees. "Who is Aurora Sky?" Theo knelt beside her, his eyes filled with something between wonder and heartbreak. "You're everything. You're the voice that saved my life when my dad died. You're the reason thousands of people believe in love again." He pulled out his phone. "And I can prove it." Section 3. Piecing together the past. "Start from the beginning," Aurora said, wrapping herself in a silk robe as Theo opened his laptop on her kitchen island. "Show me who I was supposed to be." For the next hour, Theo walked her through her own life like a museum guide. YouTube videos of her first open mic nights, where she sang with raw passion about heartbreak and hope. Instagram posts from 3 years ago, when she lived in a studio apartment, and posted covers from her fire escape. "Look at your face here." Theo pointed to a grainy video from the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. "You're crying while you sing. That's real emotion." Aurora watched herself perform an acoustic version of Midnight Confessions, apparently her breakthrough hit. The girl on screen was softer somehow, more vulnerable. "She looks hungry," Aurora murmured. "Like she had something to prove." "You did. Your father left when you were 12. Your mom worked 3 jobs. Music was your escape." But the deeper they dug, the stranger things became. Aurora's early interviews showed a confident but humble artist talking about authentic storytelling. By her second album, she was giving robotic answers about brand evolution and reaching wider demographics. "I want to meet people who knew me before," Aurora decided. "Real people, not industry handlers." Their first stop was Coffee Bean and Blues, a tiny venue in Silver Lake. The owner, Maya Chin, had tears in her eyes when she saw Aurora. "Oh honey, where have you been? You used to come here every Tuesday, just to listen. You said it kept you grounded." Maya's expression darkened. "Then that manager of yours said you'd outgrown places like this." Next was Aurora's former bandmate, Jessica Walsh, who lived in a cramped apartment in Los Felios. Jessica's greeting was ice cold. "So the princess finally remembers the little people?" Jessica crossed her arms. "You fired me via text, Aurora." Said I wasn't visually compatible with your new image. I did that. Aurora felt sick. Derek's words, your signature. But hey, at least you kept our songs. Electric Dreams? That was my melody. Neon Nights? My lyrics about my dead brother. But somehow they all became Aurora Sky originals. The most painful stop was Aurora's childhood home in Burbank, where her mother, Linda, answered the door with suspicious eyes. What do you want now? More money for your legal team? Linda's voice was brittle. You haven't returned my calls in 8 months. Mom, Aurora started, but Linda cut her off. Derek said you needed space from toxic family influences. I just wanted to know why my daughter stopped loving me. That night, back in the penthouse, Aurora found a locked drawer in her desk. Inside were contracts she didn't remember signing, medical records for treatments she'd never received, and a folder labeled Image Reconstruction Plan, detailing how to transform her from indie darling to mainstream commodity. Theo, she whispered, her hands shaking. Look at this psychiatric evaluation. It says I was treated for excessive creative independence and resistance to commercial guidance. Theo read over her shoulder, his face growing pale. Aurora, this isn't medical treatment. This is like they were reprogramming you. What if losing my memory wasn't an accident? Aurora turned to face him. What if someone wanted me to forget who I really was? Section 4. The New Aurora. 3 weeks later, Aurora's penthouse had transformed into something that felt like home. The pretentious art was stacked in closets, replaced by handwritten lyrics taped to walls. Her expensive guitar finally came down from its mount, and melodies filled the space where silence once reigned. Play that chord progression again, Aurora said, curled up on the floor beside Theo as he strummed his acoustic guitar. They'd been writing together every day, and something magical was happening. Her new songs were raw, honest, nothing like the polished pop confections that had made Aurora Sky famous. Like this? Theo's fingers found the melody she'd hummed that first night in his car. Perfect. Aurora closed her eyes and let the words flow. I was a ghost inside my own skin, living someone else's dream. Now I'm breaking free from the machine. Theo watched her with an expression that made her heart flutter. In the past 3 weeks, he'd become her anchor, the only person who knew both versions of Aurora and loved them equally. When she looked at him, she remembered what trust felt like. You're staring, she said, opening her eyes. Sorry, it's just, you're coming back to yourself. The real you. Their moment shattered when her phone erupted with angry buzzing. Derek's name flashed on the screen along with a string of increasingly frantic texts. Where the hell are you? Studio session was 3 hours ago. Universal is furious. Stop playing games. Answer your damn phone or I'm coming over. He's been doing that all week. Aurora muttered, but Theo looked worried. Aurora, maybe you should call him. He has connections, lawyers. Before she could respond, her doorbell chimed. Then chimed again. Then someone started pounding. Aurora! Open this door. Derek's voice carried through the hallway. I know you're in there. Through the peephole, Aurora saw Derek flanked by 2 men in expensive suits she didn't recognize. Her blood ran cold. We need to record a statement, she whispered to Theo. Everything. What happened that night, what we've discovered. Aurora, there's something I haven't told you. Theo's voice cracked. That night at the party, I saw Derek put something in your drink. A clear liquid from a small vial. I wanted to warn you, but I was just the catering guy. I thought no one would believe me. Aurora stared at him. You saw him drug me? I've been carrying this guilt for weeks. I should have done something, should have. Theo. She grabbed his hands. You did do something. You saved my life. The pounding intensified. Aurora. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, but you're coming with us. Suddenly, flashes hit Aurora like lightning strikes, Derek forcing a glass into her hand. The bitter taste underneath the champagne. His voice saying, This will help with your anxiety about the new contract. The room spinning, her thoughts becoming fuzzy, his hands steadying her as she tried to protest. He's been drugging me for months, she whispered, the memories cascading back. Not just that night. The anxiety medication he insisted I take before every meeting, every interview. That's why I can't remember making those decisions. That's why I signed those contracts. Derek's voice turned sinister. I have a key, Aurora. Don't make me use it. Aurora looked at Theo, decision crystallizing in her eyes. Call 911. Record everything. It's time the world met the real Aurora Sky. Section 5, The Choice, Return or Rebirth. The police had arrested Derek and his associates 3 days ago, but the damage to Aurora's career was swift and brutal. Headlines screamed about her breakdown, and Universal Records threatened to sue for breach of contract. Her team scattered like roaches when the lights came on. Now, sitting in the empty venue where it all started, the Bluebird Cafe, Aurora faced an impossible choice. A single microphone waited on the small stage, and in 2 hours, people would fill every seat. Maya had helped her organize this last-minute show, calling it Aurora's Return to Authenticity. You don't have to do this, Theo said, setting down 2 cups of coffee. We could just disappear. Start over somewhere new. Aurora picked up her guitar, fingers finding the melody that had been haunting her dreams. I've been running from who I am for 3 years. I won't run anymore. She'd spent the last 72 hours writing one song, a musical autobiography that would either resurrect her career or bury it forever. The lyrics were brutal, honest, naming names and exposing the machine that had tried to erase her soul. What if they hate it? Aurora asked. What if they only want the fake version of me? Then they never deserved the real you. As the sun set, people began filtering in. Aurora peeked through the curtain, her heart hammering. She recognized faces, industry executives who'd profited from her manipulation, former fans who'd supported Aurora Sky without knowing she was a prisoner in her own life, journalists hungry for the next twist in her story. In the back row, she spotted her mother, Linda, tears already streaming down her face. Maya gave Aurora a thumbs up from behind the bar. And there, in the front row, sat Theo with his phone ready to record everything. Ladies and gentlemen. Maya's voice cut through the nervous chatter. Please welcome the real Aurora Sky. Aurora walked onto the stage with trembling legs. No backup dancers, no special effects, just her voice and her truth. The room fell silent. 3 weeks ago, I woke up and didn't know who I was. She began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Tonight I want to tell you who I am. Not who they made me pretend to be. She started playing, and the melody filled the intimate space like a prayer. They built a cage of platinum and gold. Taught me to sing the songs I was told. But underneath the makeup and the lies, I was screaming with my authentic eyes. As she sang about Derek's drugs, the stolen songs, the manufactured persona, some people shifted uncomfortably. A few industry suits got up and left. But others leaned forward, captivated by the raw honesty bleeding from every note. This is my resurrection song. Rising from 3 years gone wrong. I'm not your product anymore. I'm human to my core. When the final chord faded, the silence stretched for an eternity. Then, slowly, applause began to build, not the polite clapping of a corporate showcase,